Our family story is an Ohio story. My husband, JD, grew up in Middletown, and things weren't easy. His mom struggled with addiction, and his dad wasn't there. But JD was lucky. He was raised by his loving grandmother, and he served his country as a Marine in Iraq. He's an incredible father, and he's my best friend.
The announcement of Donald Trump's running mate JD Vance has piqued curiosity as the first-term Ohio Republican senator, once an enemy to the former US president, enters the spotlight in the 2024 race. Standing beside him as prospective First Vice Lady is Usha Vance, the 39-year-old candidate's Indian-American wife, who has been embraced by Republicans as a symbol of generational change and growing diversity in the party ranks. Serving at the 200-lawyer-strong self-described radically progressive firm, Munger, Tolles & Olson, Usha's clients included a division of the Walt Disney Company and the Regents of the University of California. So who is the former registered Democrat that may potentially be the Second Lady of the United States?
One is that I did grow up in a religious household. My parents are Hindu, and that was one of the things that made them such good parents, that make them really very good people.
The 38-year-old corporate lawyer was born to Indian immigrants Krish and Lakshmi Chilakuri, who settled into a tight-knit community of Indian American academics in San Diego, California. In a 2022 profile in the New York Times, a family friend of Usha suggested at a young age she had assumed a leadership role, deciding which board games the children were going to play and what the rules were going to be. Notably bright, a skim through the lawyer's Goodreads account reveals a taste for novels by prolific authors Zadie Smith, Jonathan Safran Fo, and Vladimir Nabokov. Usha Vance also recalls growing up in a religious household with devout Hindu parents.
Well, we were in all our classes together, and so I saw him, several hours a day, and we were just friends. And then we were assigned to work together on a brief, so we were friends. And I liked that he, was very diligent. He would show up for these 9 a.m. appointments that I set for us to start working on the brief together.
And she set them and made it very clear that if I didn't show up, I would be in trouble.
Meeting her now husband at Yale Law School, JD Vance praises his wife in his best-selling memoir, Hillbilly Elegy, as a Yale spirit guide who was pivotal in him navigating campus life. She instinctively understood the questions I didn't even know to ask, and she always encouraged me to seek opportunities that I didn't know existed, he wrote. The memoir was subject to a 2020 Netflix film adaptation. Usha was portrayed by Slumdog Millionaire star Frida Pinto. During her stint at the prestigious Ivy League, Usha served as editor of the Yale Law Journal and managing editor of the Yale Journal of Law and Technology. She also gained a master's in philosophy from the University of Cambridge. Among the pair's Yale Law classmates was businessman Vivek Ramaswamy, who ran unsuccessfully for the Republican presidential nomination this year.
I really, I believe in JD, and I really love him. And so we'll just sort of see what happens with our life. We're open.
The pair married in a 2014 interfaith ceremony in Kentucky, where she would serve in the same year as a clerk on the influential DC circuit for Brett Kavanaugh, who was nominated by Donald Trump and confirmed to the US Supreme Court in a media spectacle 4 years later. 10 years ago, Usha was a registered Democrat, actively voting in the party's primaries, according to public records. Her political switch was documented in 2022, voting in the Republican primary when her husband was a Senate candidate for Ohio. Upon Vance's announcement as running mate to Trump, Usha stated that she is resigning from her firm to support her family, their 2 sons Ewan, Vivek, and daughter Mirabelle, as the race continues. In a 2020 podcast episode with former Fox News presenter Megyn Kelly, Vance told the journalist,
Usha definitely brings me back to earth a little bit, and if I maybe get a little too cocky or a little too proud, I just remind myself that she's way more accomplished than I am.